You drank straight up vodka.
Dirty
Let's
martini.
just get this fucking done.
Yeah.
No, this is part of it.
Yeah. Oh,
This is fucking...
let's do it. Alrighty. Here we go. My name is Marty Fox from White Fox. Now, here's the deal.
This is like...
It's just
this is
an
how podcasts work. You just say lips.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Straight up vodka. Dirty martini.
I saw it.
Now, hang on a second, because quickly, we had lunch at the Mount
What do you know who we had dinner with?
Yeah, no.
The people that bought the block house.
Tassoons. No, but I was like, hang on a second, you'd gone from oysters to oysters.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. We had a lot.
and you wanted more oysters.
I did. Hey, hold on.
okay, hold on.
Dessert. She had fucking... How many desserts did you order?
Hey,
She
don't
had
make
two
me
creme brulees,
sound
She had a chocolate mousse, and you had a fucking tartare.
No, because the famous story at the moment that goes around White Fox is that you went to Francois with Rory, our CFO, and of course got everything. And then Rory's like, why are you getting the mashed potatoes? And what did you say?
Because it's fun.
Like, you already had chips, you had salad, you had steak.
No, but I thought that you were going to say the other story that came out of that.
Oh, but
because we went to pay the bill and Rory had the card and he's like, where's the tip? The waiter. You know what the French are like in bloody Francois. And Rory's like, no, you get paid very well in this country.
Explain it to him.
Anyway, so they ended up saying, no, you have to tip. And Rory's like, no, I don't. Anyway,
it's a
so we
standoff.
pay the bill. And it's a bit of a standoff. And then they leave. And then my mate, sort of, who's the waiter, he's like, mate, what's going on here? I was like, what's the problem? He goes, no tip. I said, no tip. I said, are you kidding me? He goes, no, that big bloke over there. Pointing at Rory at the door, and Rory's like grinning. I was like, fucking hell. So I had to pull out, lucky I had a couple of pineapples and sorted him out.
But also, it was like upsetting Kit, who's obviously part of our advocacy team. Who's
No, so Kit was like,
he's a veteran.
veteran
at
Francois.
and Kit got us that table last minute. Like, it was quite embarrassing.
Another red flag, and they'll spit in your food.
Hey, good CFO.
Great CFO. He's keeping
keeping it lean.
numbers tight. So, well, this is episode 2 of WTF with the Fox. And our
First guest.
Very excited
First
to be
guest, first
here.
agent.
Hey, first agent, first guest, first customer ever. Before we launched officially, we did a little off-market deal. Charlotte's best friend had an apartment in Elwood. I had met Lana through being her dad's neighbour in Port Melbourne. And in the first week that we met,
Yeah.
I'd actually sold Lana an apartment.
Crazy.
First purchaser.
But you're all about connect. Like, this is the thing. This business is about connections, weird connections that end up becoming. Because in all seriousness, look at Lana now. Look at where she is, what she's achieved, and how successful she is. I'm sure you saw something in her, but you wouldn't have ever perceived that it could be as big. And it's going to only get better, isn't it? Like,
No, there was
you
some
saw
magic
something
when-
in her.
Yeah, there was a few crossovers. Like my mum knew Lana's mum,
And my mum's sisters.
and your mum's
growing
sisters.
up.
Lana used to go out and party with Charlotte when they were like, they weren't friends, but they were in the same friendship
From the age of
circles.
16.
And
each
then
other.
we connected, but it was really Lana's husband who, after he met me, he was like, what did he say?
So last night I heard him tell you at dinner
Yes.
about the story. So we obviously met Marty,
Yeah.
put the connections together about Charlotte and obviously being next door neighbours with mum and dad. Blown away immediately because Marty's he's got the energy and he's got that magic about him. So we were instantly kind of taken aback by that. Forced us to buy this property. It was the first property we ever saw.
We should do a series on people who've been forced to buy properties.
I know, there's so many.
I got so excited. And then we're sitting at the Pier Hotel in Port Melbourne signing contracts before we knew it and then about to fly back to the UK. But it was when we went home, I had just downloaded Instagram because Marty told me to. I'll never forget that. You said to me, hey, what's your Insta handle? Because we took a photo outside the office.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. And so I downloaded Instagram and then went back to the UK, and Albert started doing research on Marty because he was really intrigued by his creativity, the marketing side of it, and just all the ideas that he was telling us that he had about launching the business. So White Fox was officially launching, I think 2 or 3 weeks later after we had first met and bought the property from you. And Albert watched the Tom Panos YouTube video and said, babe, you've got to watch this guy. You have to work for him.
Really?
And we'd laughed about it and we kept in touch, and Marty and Charlotte ended up buying Kendall Street, which was next door to or around the corner from where we bought from them. So we were becoming neighbours. And Albert said, if you're ever going to do it, if you're ever going to get into real estate, and it's something that people have always said you'd be really good at because you're great with people, you can sell sand to the
You're
arrows.
well presented, you can speak, all those
Yeah.
things. So you can do it all.
Well, Albert was like, if you're ever going to do it, you've got to do it with this guy. He's he's got something about him, and made me watch the Tom Panis video and kept in touch. And then fast forward a couple of years.
That is just on that story.
Yeah.
The fact that you just mentioned Kendall Street, a house that you've now sold 3 times. Like, I know that's a podcast for another time, but like that's ironic. Part of the story, he's in Kendall, and now you've sold it since 3
on
times.
Saturday for the 3rd time. Crazy.
3 times in 3 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years.
That's unheard of, though. In terms of you've been in real estate now long enough to see that. I mean, you have too. That's pretty unheard of.
I haven't seen. I've never sold a property 3 times.
Right.
So to do it in 4 years.
Have you before that ever sold 3?
No, I haven't. It's a weird. I just keep being pulled back to that home. Which is also good because it means I've done a bloody good job, and they keep calling me back.
No, there's a question in that because like you've sold to the person who's then bought, and then you've sold for that person. So what are the conversations?
Hey, what about the line that you said the other night? Because they're actually selling for a loss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a very hard deal for Lana to close.
Yes.
What was the dialogue that you said to her on the phone, which I asked you about the other day, that you delivered about your salesmanship?
So unfortunately they have taken a loss because they bought in a different market.
Yeah, exactly.
And the client was
Wanting
rightfully
more
so wanting more money,
Yes.
and couldn't understand, how there was such a discrepancy between what she had paid and what this buyer was prepared to pay. And she said, look, I feel like I'm being pushed and I'm being told, we paid such a big price for it when we bought it from you. And I said to her, exactly, which means I'm very good at my job. I got every dollar out of you, and you've seen the way that I work on the other side. I'm doing exactly the same with the buyer. Now, unfortunately, the market isn't prepared to pay you this money right now. In 3 to 4 years, you may get it back and a little bit more. But today, in this climate, it is not there because I have done absolutely everything. You saw that I was at your house at 10 o'clock when you bought it, PM. I ran over with hard contracts. I literally did everything to get you up. I ended up getting you up another 10,000, and your husband was in another state at the time, and there was FaceTime calls and there was a lot of theatre, and I really, really pushed you, didn't I? And she said, yeah, you bloody did, like to breaking point. And I said, well, I've just done the same with the buyer. I've pushed them to breaking point.
Yeah.
And I can hand on heart tell you that there's not a dollar more. Like how I can hand on heart tell you when you bought it from me that you guys didn't have another dollar. And she said, you're right.
That's what closes
Good at case studies you get, isn't it? And like that, because that must be the thing for agents, really, pulling out your hair, trying to explain to people how this.
But also, people don't understand that we are messengers of the market. We don't set the market.
No.
There's a little bit of creativity that we can have behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, they just need to feel and really trust and believe that we have done everything.
Yes.
And if every White Fox agent can represent their client to where the client feels that there is absolutely no more that they could have done, then we're winning as a business.
And we've done our job properly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I say to people as a non-agent but working in an agency that you've got to picture this. You've got the person who wants the most and you've got the person who wants to pay the least. And somewhere in the middle of the agent works.
Yeah.
That's the only way to describe it, because people just assume agents are trying to screw everyone. It's not. It's like it's a balancing act. You've got to convince this person it might not be as worth as much as they think it is. And this person, they'll have to pay more than they actually want to.
So
And
people say
you find that
the
balance.
art of the deal is actually making it so that both parties feel like they won.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, the reason why agents have a bad reputation is because there hasn't been enough finesse in the communication. And someone feels like they've been hard done by.
Yeah.
Yep.
To be a great agent, both parties need to feel like they've won.
Yeah.
And if you speak to most of the great agents around Australia, that's what they've cracked the code on. Their communication is so smooth and silky. They've got their dialogue and their timings and their patter down pat so that everyone feels like that agent has done everything for them.
Do you think
And that's
most-
how you also get repeat business.
Yes.
That is the key. So
Yes.
for me, I was really lucky that I got to work under Marty for 3.5 years and really understand all the different mechanics. But what I loved about working with him is when people would buy through him, they'd sell through him. They really loved the overall experience. And for me, what I've taken forward in my career is I just want the experience for everyone to be 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Even if the buyer makes an offer and they don't buy the home, I want them to walk away and say to anyone that's looking at buying or selling, you've got to call this girl. Yeah. She was amazing. She did everything that she could. We had a property that we sold last week in Brighton East. It was an expressions of interest, and I ended up having 11 written offers on the home.
Yep.
There was one buyer in particular, but Shaney's just listed their property in Melbourne on Beaconsfield Grey.
Wow.
And they were super emotional. They've been through 4 times. They just had a baby, really nice young couple. And from the minute that I met them until the minute that they made their offer, I made them feel so special. And I said, I'm going to do everything I can to get it for you. Ultimately, it will be price in the end, but this is what you need to do on terms and settlement and so forth. So I really guided them through the experience. And unfortunately, they didn't buy the home because there was multiple offers that were higher. But she sent me the most beautiful text, and she was like, we're so blown away by the experience, and we loved every single moment that we got to deal with you. You did everything that you could. Ultimately, we couldn't afford the home, but we will be working with WHITEFOX forever.
And what a
Shaney.
testament, now listed with Shaney.
Yeah. So that's really cool.
It also shows great teamwork because you could have easily just gone in and listed it.
No,
But
Shaney had a relationship first.
Okay.
And Shaney and I, every couple of days, we're talking.
Yeah, okay.
And Shaney priced their home. I said, Shaney, just list it, sell it. And if they get it, they get it. But let's just give them a lot of TLC. And we did. And that's really powerful, especially in the real estate sector, because everybody talks. Yes. And my biggest theory always has been since a kid is reputation's everything. Once you lose it, you never get it back. And my mum taught me that from a very young age. So I think in business and in particular in real estate, one wrong move can really follow you throughout your career. So I think when you're dealing with buyers and vendors, you've just got to be really aware of that and not get a bad reputation because it's very hard to shake off.
Do you think, and you as well, like successful agents around Australia, which you two are both one of, are able to put their head on the pillow and soundly sleep? They know that they haven't screwed anyone over. That's kind of the whole thing. It's because of that persona from the outside, like what you were talking about before. It's like, all you want to do is make sure that you get this deal done, that everyone feels like they win.
Yeah.
And I feel like some agents probably go to bed going, oh, God, I probably did the wrong thing there. You want to be able to know that you're doing the best for everyone who's involved in that part of the transaction, right?
Oh, there's difficult conversations all the time.
Yes.
In terms of not being able to sleep, you're probably not being able to sleep because you can't get
Working
the deal
with the
across the
clock.
line. Yeah, I don't want to get it across the line. But I've slept like a lamb.
I've never gone to bed and felt sick about a deal.
Never.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel amazing. I've never thought I should have done it. I mean,
You sleep well because you actually you just cooked.
Yeah, you're so
Big days,
fatigued. But I've never, so far, touch wood, and I hope it never happens, that I will be upset about a deal, that I didn't do everything that I could within my power to make it the best that I can, and that I've ever done anything wrong by a vendor or a buyer, ever. And I think you pretty much are the same.
Yeah.
That's right.
Can I ask them, because you did work under him for 3 years.
Yes.
Was it longer?
It was like 4.
It was like 4 years.
Yeah.
Four.
Some people say 3.5. Some people, I don't know.
It's blurry.
It felt like
blurry.
15 years.
But in all seriousness, he's probably the best I know at the hard conversation.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. I
Yeah.
have to dance around. I don't want the person thinking.
Yeah.
Like, how long did it take you to get that? Because that is a skill in itself. Being able to hit someone between the eyes and know that they won't hate you for it is a skill.
It's how you do it. So
You did struggle at the start.
I did. So Marty at the start used to say to me, stop smiling so much when you're delivering bad news, and you've got to do it this way.
She was always
And
smiling. I was like, why are
but
you
it's my
smiling?
personality. That is my personality.
Yeah.
What I've learnt
Yeah.
though, and through elevating my position within the business and being a director of the business, that's given me more weight in those types of conversations. And at the end of the day, I'm the professional in that space. They've hired me for a reason.
Yes.
So you've hired me to give you the best advice because I live and breathe property.
Yeah.
So when it comes to those difficult conversations, I don't think they need to be aggressive.
No.
What you do need to deliver are the facts and try and put a bit of emotion in there, but I believe it's in the way that you deliver it.
But you
don't
can get
have to go
aggression in return. That's what I'm saying.
Correct. I had one yesterday.
I was about to say, can you
I had a
remember the hardest
situation
one you've
yesterday.
had?
Like
We've
pretty-
both been abused
Yeah,
and
of
yelled
course you
at.
have.
And,
I had a
Paul,
client scream at me yesterday because I've gotten her an offer on a home,
Yes.
and it's one of the most unique properties on the market
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
And we always knew that it would be a very specific buyer, and put that in a difficult climate. It's almost impossible to find it. I found the buyer.
Yes.
It's an out-of-area buyer
Yep.
from past Aspendale.
Yep.
They're the perfect age demographic. They're creatives. They understand it. They're at the right age where there's not an issue. I've written up an offer and I've worked on this client with this particular buyer for 3 weeks, and I've gotten them to a point where I believe they're out. I had a long conversation with my client yesterday and she lost it because it's not the number that she wants to hear. But unfortunately,
that's the
that
client
figure-
trying to dictate the market.
Yeah. And I
Another
said to her yesterday, if it's there, I will get it. I break records everywhere.
Yes.
If it's in the buyer, I will get it out of the buyer.
Yes.
But the market has spoken. They're exhausted and they're about to walk. And she she did come at me quite aggressively, but I had to tone my tonality down because she's a very powerful individual within her space.
Yes.
And she just needed to get it off her chest.
Sure.
And I let her do that. She calmed down. And at the end of the day, I said to her, if you don't sell it, it doesn't change my life, but it changes yours. So I'm going to do everything I can to get you to a level where you're comfortable and that it allows you to move on. Because there's not many vendors in this market that are doing cartwheels and popping champagne. You'll see the odd one here and there through social media, outstanding results that we're getting, but not a lot of vendors right now are jumping up and down at the prices.
How do you feel? How do you feel when you had a house, you put everything into it, you've had mums, you think you've given everything, and it goes somewhere else to another agency, and they eventually sell it? How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's just
It's a cycle.
It's collateral damage. Yeah. It's just the way that it is. Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose it.
You have
By
the
the way,
reverse as
Michael
well.
Jordan's lost basketball games. You know, different football teams win the flag every few years. Like it's momentum. It's you have to understand that you can't win everyone over, and you can't close every single deal. But if you've got a very high probability of success, and we're closing 95% of the listings that we're taking on, then that's a successful business.
Probably more frustrating, actually, when someone else takes it on and it doesn't sell, because you're like, see, I told you, it's not the agency, it's the house or the asset.
What actually ends up happening is the vendors condition themselves over time.
Yeah. Right.
So what is frustrating is, and this has happened a lot. This has happened a lot. You've actually signed up an offer at a level. They haven't sold.
Yes.
They do go to a different agency.
Yes.
And they
Spend
do
marketing
sell
again.
but it's sold for a lesser amount.
The house I bought, I know the vendor who I bought from got an offer a lot more than what we paid for 6 months earlier and turned it down.
Yeah.
So that agent would be very upset with that.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. It's but then so for you, like, as in this journey now, as we head into year number what? I mean, I've lost count of how many years you've been doing this now.
Almost 7 years I've been here.
Tell you what, there's been some bloody good moments, like coming in as a client, then an EA,
Yeah.
then resigning. Remember when you resigned?
I was going to say.
So Lana
you're out.
resigned.
You're
I was
out.
out.
I've got a photo on my phone of us sitting at the kitchen bench, and she's bawling her eyes out.
Marty's got his hands in his
You've been an agent
head.
for 6 months.
Yeah,
6 months, and she said it's not for me. The prospecting,
what was
the
it?
rejection,
That or
the conversations. She didn't like talking about money.
I found it really uncomfortable and awkward because I don't come from a real estate background. I come from a sales background, but I also came back from London after being away for 10 years with 3 people's numbers in my phone. And it's all about who you know in real estate and connecting. And I found
But
it really
how hard
daunting.
was that 6 months?
Oh, it was horrendous. And it also was the start of the business. So you were just running around like a crazy man.
You would call people and you'd say, Lana from White Fox, and like, who? What's White Fox? What, like, no one knew this brand. So every listing, if a listing goes for an hour, a White Fox listing for the first 4 years went for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because there was an hour in explaining who we were.
Yeah.
So to not be kicked out immediately and to be able to get into the listing, we had an hour to talk about White Fox. But, you know, that could be a conversation for another day.
Well, it could be, 'cause
That's crazy when we think about it and where the business is now.
I know, I was going to
and
say,
what
we've got
everyone's
two-
got within their toolbox to leverage.
We've got
It's-
2 new young agents who have said to me
Yeah.
they can't believe how the conversation's flowing for them when they say, I'm Fedger from White Fox, I'm Ari from White. Like,
Yeah, it actually works in their favour
working
now.
in their favour.
It
For
worked
us,
against
it
us.
worked against
I know,
us.
that's the
For
thing.
years.
Going in and saying, hi, it's Marty and Lana here
Who?
from White Fox.
Who?
White what? What for?
Are you the fashion brand?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
huh?
But that's happening in New Zealand to start with. In Perth, like,
Happening in Perth.
It's the thing. It's the part of, and I guess in a way it builds this foundation for you because there's a resilience in being able to go, this is who I am, this is what we do. I promise you we do a good job. And then actually achieving it,
Yeah.
this snowball starts to happen where people go, this girl's good.
Yeah.
This brand's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You must have felt that because obviously after the resignation you came back on.
I came back on, so Marty pulled me back. So I came in as an agent, which was probably the wrong move to begin with, coming straight in and jumping into the deep end. But, you know, you learn from these things. Resigned on Marty's kitchen bench, crying. He convinced me to come in as his EA. And what did I do? I was like, no, I don't want to be an EA.
So just give it 3 months.
Just come and learn. I'll teach you everything you need to know and you'll have a laugh.
Which will set you up to one day become a great agent.
Yeah.
Well, you're not just a great agent. Now you're actually a genuine influencer in the industry as well because you're often asked to talk. In fact, you guys are doing a talk for Macquarie.
Yeah. So Macquarie Bank, we've been asked to speak at their International Women's Day luncheon, which is incredibly exciting and flattering at the same time. Last year they had Dr. Chantel Thornton speak to the audience, which is just incredible. So to be asked to come and talk about property and my journey and the business's journey and working
And a powerful
together.
woman in a male-dominated industry.
But that's the thing that's really the focus. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's International Women's Day. But like, do you feel that sometimes some women go, I'm aware of the fact that there is inequality and others, but like you just do your thing. Or have you felt that across the journey? Because we've had a few people come from other companies saying real estate is a man's game, and there's a lot of that still that is present, particularly with the older guys.
Yeah.
Have you felt it? What's your sort of...
Definitely felt it over the years. It is getting better, which is amazing. There's some unbelievable female operators within the industry that have been doing it for a very long time.
Yes.
There's still a boys' club.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But it's really encouraging to hear, for me in particular, young female agents reach out to me all the time, and it's incredible, asking for advice and wanting to spend time with me. I've had girls fly in from Tasmania and Queensland a few weeks ago wanting to sit down and understand how they can make it work for them.
Yeah.
And I'm incredibly blessed to have such a supportive business around me, that especially Marty really elevating me through day one.
How many meetings would you think that I was coming to? So you know, we'd roll into big meetings,
Yes.
whether it be with a developer or a huge listing or a big close, and I'll be like, I'll see you at the front.
He'd always test me.
And I would deliberately not go, and she'd be like, I'm at the front. I'd be like, Lana, go for it. And she'd be like, what do you mean? You're not coming? I said, Lana, trust me, I'm deliberately not there. You know how to deliver this news. You know what to do. I'm not there. At obviously the risk of the deal not
Losing
going
the
through,
business,
but I
yeah.
knew that she wouldn't lose it.
Yeah.
Lana was unaware that she had the power to do it. I knew that she had the power to do it. And I think part of this Macquarie thing is to talk about the faith that I had in giving Lana those opportunities where it wasn't about Marty Fox. Behind the scenes, it was actually Lana going in, getting the job done, and her being able to jump in the car and call me, go, Marty,
Yeah.
I did it. Like,
Yeah.
it's done. And I was like, see? Told you.
It's pretty amazing, though, to put that trust in me, and especially as a new business at the time you did it.
Oh,
right in the
finances
beginning.
we needed every dollar.
Deal mattered.
Yes.
And looking back at those types of memories and those stories, which are so vivid in my memory, I can't believe you did it. I understand why you did it, but there was so much to lose.
So much to lose.
There was so much to lose. If I didn't get that listing, or if I didn't close that deal, and it didn't always get done, but majority of the time it did.
Yeah, but you grew from it, and then in the end, the value in your ability now is beyond, right? You've got a direct sales director who's a powerhouse.
Yeah, and soon to be a full partner. So there's things happening.
There's things happening.
There's new divisions launching, which will be spearheaded by Lana. There's a lot that's happening in 2024.
Might have to get you back on it a little bit with it.
We're not going to get back
every week.
Yeah, we can't talk about it now.
No, it's awesome. Well, we love having you on. I mean, this is just becoming, this is developing. This is episode 2 and you're our first guest. This is
Hey,
there's a lot
I actually
to
feel
talk
like
about.
we're actually cutting it so short because we could genuinely film for 5 hours.
I know.
There's 5 hours of
do a
things.
series.
We could unpack some
know.
unbelievable stories and memories.
Well, no, well, I think this is what WTF will be development of things. People will come back on. Remember, we talked about this, and next time it might be delving into the nitty gritty and some other things, talking about what's coming next. So, but that's awesome. I mean, just for people who are watching or listening, you can obviously listen to this anywhere you get podcasts from. Obviously, people get them on Spotify, on Listener app, whatever it is. So we'll have them out there for you. Put out a lot of this content as well on our social media so people can see. But this is just something fun that we think you guys have so much knowledge. You guys have so much to share, and the stories are interesting. So,
God, we've got some stories.
I know. For another pod.
It's time for you guys to go get some more.
I know, we actually we need to go to Deloitte.
Yeah, we've got to go.
All right.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Always a pleasure. And see you next time.
Loved it.
See you next
Well
time.
done.